couple of months, the internet gets together and decides that there should be a female Bond. I don't think you actually want that, and here's why. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Izzy, and this is the Izzy Nobre Show. Do you guys remember the Mystique billboard controversy a few months ago when X-Men Age of Apocalypse? X-Men Apocalypse. Age of Apocalypse was the comic. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Izzy, and this is the Izzy Nobre Show. Do you remember a few months ago when X-Men Apocalypse came out, and this billboard was the center of a lot of controversy because it shows Apocalypse the villain holding Mystique, one of the heroes, by the neck, suggesting violence against the character. When this picture hit the web, people spent a lot of energy typing up their opinion pieces on Tumblr and Huffington Post and all these places, and the whole thing was they're glamorizing violence against women. That was the whole thing. That's the whole. They can't show violence against women like that. That's immoral. You just shouldn't do that. Never mind the fact that heroes beating up supervillains and vice versa is the very core of the idea of superheroes. This has been a mainstay of the medium for as long as it has existed. It's kind of like the Batgirl cover controversy. Remember this one? This one right here has the Joker. He has his arm around Batgirl. He's holding a revolver, and she looks like she's scared. There's the implied threat of violence there, and it was the same thing. People are crying foul, saying that this is glamorization of violence against women. Again, forgetting that this is the very basis of the superhero story. People wearing costumes, looking like idiots, trading blows. When you argue that these things just shouldn't exist, that Apocalypse holding Mystique by the neck, or the Joker holding a gun next to Batgirl, when you're saying that this should just flat out not exist, you're saying two things. One, you're saying that you speak for all women, which is just flat out not true. There's a lot of women who don't care about this. And two, you're saying women are so fragile they cannot handle a work of art or a piece of fiction. They have to be shielded from that permanently. Maybe it's just me, but this sounds condescending as f***. Since I'm a comic book nerd, I got some examples for you right here. I got Death of Captain America, look at that. I got Fear itself, you got Thor all f***ed up here. Look at this one right here, Spider-Man, again, all f***ed up. You got his enemies standing up on, it looks like an Iron Patriot here. Osborn has his foot on his back. Can you imagine if this was Spider-Woman instead? You wouldn't have heard the end of it. Here's some more Spidey looking like he's seen some better days. Now, my point is not to say that men are oppressed because of these. My point is to say that violence in comic books is just a thing. That's the basis. That's the whole idea. You can't say you want representation if when a female is represented, you're like, oh, but you can't do that. You can do that to the guys, but don't do that to her. That's like a little kid wanting to play with the bigger kids, but wanting all the rules to be modified to suit him. And nobody wants to play with that kid. And remember this, because this is gonna come back later. And this is why you don't actually want a female Bond. Like, I actually would like to see a female Bond. Maybe because I'm not that big a fan of the character. Maybe because I'm not super attached to the things that we've seen so far that make up the Bond character. But I would be 100% welcoming of a female Bond. But the Tumblr types who decry any sort of negative portrayal of women in media would hate a female Bond. Bond gets f***ed up and tortured by his enemies every movie. Do you remember this from Casino Royale? Can you imagine if that was a female Bond on that chair? Well, okay, it wouldn't be the same thing because she wouldn't have balls, but you get the idea. I'm sweating shit, these lights are hot. If a Jane Bond had a scene like that, Tumblr would say they're glamorizing violence against women. What about Bond being kind of, and maybe not only kind of, an arrogant ass? Just do as I say, will you?
Yes, James.
If Jane Bond was like that, Twitter would blow up some hashtag about how they're playing up negative portrayal of women in media and the patriarchy is doing. What about Bond's habit of basically f***ing everything that moves? He sleeps with at least, what, 2-3 chicks per movie? If Jane Bond did that, some chick with a gender studies diploma would say they're sexualizing the character. Like male Bond hasn't been doing that forever. They will inevitably make a Jane Bond flick, which again, I personally think it's great, but the people asking for it the most will hate it. They will pretend that every single negative thing about the character has not been a staple of the character for like, what, 6 decades now? Remember when I said in the beginning beginning when you want to play, but you want all the rules to be modified around you to not offend you, and people just won't want to play with you anymore? Check out this article by Variety. Study finds fewer lead roles for women in Hollywood. I believe that this is in no small part due to the fact that if you put a woman in a movie like that, the people who ask for it the most will find reasons to complain. How about the Ghostbusters thing? There's this article on the Washington Post called "If Ghostbusters is a Feminist Victory, Feminist Pop Culture is Doomed." Again, we start off by proving what I just said. They're not happy. You asked for this! You wanted this! What do they say? No matter how much Erin, Abby, and Jillian emphasize their scientific credentials, no matter what they capture on video, and no matter that they manage to contain a ghost on stage in front of a huge audience for a rock concert, no one believes them when they say that ghosts are running rampant in New York. Did you forget there is an entire movie? What the f*** is this? Did you forget that there's an entire movie when people, the whole premise, the thing that sets up the movie is that nobody believes the Ghostbusters. They're doing kids' birthday parties to pay the bills because nobody believes them, even though they saved the world in the previous movie. And guess what? They were seen as cranks and frauds in that movie too. The whole idea that people don't fully buy into the Ghostbusters, that's part of it. That's part of the mythos. When Venkman is on this show and he's like talking about with these psychics and things like that and these frauds, the whole idea that like this is crank territory, like people don't actually believe this because this is ridiculous, is part of the Ghostbusters lore. They apply the same standards to female Ghostbusters, and guess what? Apparently, it's, what does it say there? Feminist pop culture is doomed. You wanted this. You said you wanted this. It doesn't look like you wanted it that much, considering it's doing not that great at the box office. My point is this: bring on more female representation. Bring on more female video game characters, and bring on more comic books with female leads, and more movies and sci-fi and whatever. Do that. That's great. That makes the medium, that makes the culture richer because of the diversity, the different points of view. That's great. Bring that on. But don't complain when they show these flawed characters, when they have these characters that just don't conform to your agenda 100%, that they're not role models. Because when you do that, nobody wins. You want to complain that this character's flawed and this is a little bit sexist, this is a little bit misogynist, whatever. You do that, but realize that every time Hollywood tries to please you, and this is how you respond, they might not try to please you anymore. So take your victories where you can get them. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I'm sweaty as f***. I gotta go to work. Leave a comment, like, subscribe to the video, whatever. You guys know what to do at this point. It's not like YouTube started yesterday. Yeah, that's everything and I'm done. Why is it so hot? Jesus Christ. I was trying to get away from the heat when I came to Canada. That was the whole idea. No matter how much Erin and Abby and Jillian, no matter that they managed to contain a ghost on stage in front of a huge audience,